right. I think we're live now. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 14th meeting of the Parks and Community Service Commission regular meeting. At this time, I call the meeting to order, and if we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Wall.
All right. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we'll take public comments for matters that are not on the agenda this evening.
We'll be doing roll call.
Oh, did we? Oh, we didn't do roll call yet. Okay, thank you. Roll call.
I would like to let the record reflect that all commissioners are present except for Commissioner Wright.
Thank you. Now we'll go to public comments. So these are comments that are matters not listed on the agenda this evening. So I'll start with those in the chamber today. Seeing no one get up. Oh, okay. Come on up. Hang on. Let me turn the podium mic on. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's on.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. I want to thank Scott Glab. I'm pronouncing the name right. I reached out to him about the pickleball courts at Tanager, which is what the three of us are here to talk about. We've been playing at Tanager for a year and a half since the new courts were built, and thank you. If any of you are responsible for those new courts, we enjoy the heck out of them. We think well over 100 people use those on a daily basis. However, here's always the however, they're limited. There's only 2 courts, so that's a challenge because they do get busy, and often there'll be 8 to 10 people waiting. So our first request would be additional courts at Tanager or somewhere else in the city. Additional free courts, big deal. But the real big deal at Tanager is the lack of fencing, signage, a paddle holder, and what's my fourth one, guys? Benches. Benches for people to sit because people have to bring their own chairs. Really, fencing is the biggest key. Some local users have brought portable fences. I don't even know what it is. They scavenge it from a trash can. And so that's what it is. I emailed Scott some pictures. He can share that with you at a later date. Those fences do a very limited job of keeping the balls in play, which would speed play. The worst part, though, is when the balls go onto the playground or go into the grass or something, people's feet get wet, they bring sand onto the court, makes it really dangerous on the court as well. So we'd like to see fences included. Incidentally, on Monday when we went to play, the fences were in the trees. Some wonderful people had taken the fences and literally put them in the trees. And they'd taken the ball holder, which is the second one that's been built by local players. I'm sorry, the paddle holder, which we use to keep track of play. That paddle holder had been taken over to the sidewalk by Tanager Drive. So we had to bring it back 200 feet. So just lacking the amenities. You know, we've all played in Huntington Beach and Newport Beach and Tustin and Fountain Valley. They have fences, they have paddle holders, they have signs, gives people guidelines how to play so people don't monopolize the court. They have benches, site amenities, but really the fences is the big deal. Oh, what does that mean? I have a minute? Okay, so, so we would encourage additional free courts. I know there's some new courts that were developed at the tennis center, but those won't be free and they're not open to the public as yet, I don't think. And we'd also like to consider better site amenities for Tanager and any other courts the city and the Recreation Commission might be considering. So that's my 35 seconds. I'll stop there. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charles Pelletier. I've been a resident for 26 years, and I'm one of the members that does come to the park very regularly, 3 or 4 times a week, usually a couple hours of play. There's not too much I can add to what John said. The park, we're so grateful that you did the 2 courts that are there. They are used a lot, probably other than people walking their dogs. It's got to be the most used activity at that park. And, but the fencing is the biggest issue for me. We do see a lot of times where the ball gets into the sand and it's brought back onto the courts, or it's really wet and slippery, and now you're trying to get your feet kind of dry before you keep playing the game. So if there was some fencing, at least at the ends of each court, that would really I think improve the safety and the plays and the speeding up of the play. So beyond that, though, I'm just, like I say, I'm grateful that we have the courts. Be great if we could have more courts, but in particular, that venue, if we had this fencing, probably just 3 to 4 feet high, chain link fence, I wouldn't think it would be a huge investment to produce that. And I think that would really help that site. Okay? Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Alan Kwan. I'm from Huntington Beach. So I thank you guys actually for putting in the courts. I do play over at Worthy, but I think the only thing I wanted to highlight was that I do I would highly suggest if we can get the fences. I think is a huge, like Chuck was saying, a huge liability. Because again, most of the time in the morning, just with the mist, the grass is always wet. So when the ball in play, basically everyone's shoes are all wet. So in fact, when people are coming back onto the courts, there's a huge potential just for a slippage. And then also again, the courts in terms of really close to the playgrounds with the kids. So sometimes again, where the balls are basically struck, basically it could, could fly over there. So again, it just reduces again potential liability. So okay, thank you guys again for your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, is there any comments online?
There are currently no attendees on Zoom.
Okay, great, thank you. At this time, then we'll move to commissioner comments and suggestions. And I'll start on my left, Commissioner Wall.
Make sure I hadn't forgot how to work that thing.
Has
Good evening, everybody. I think most of you know that this evening will be my last meeting as a commissioner. And moving to Huntington Beach next week. So my house looks like a bomb went off in it because it's full of boxes and stuff. And we were talking before we got together for the meeting about all the stuff that you stumble into that you didn't know you even had because you've been someplace for so long. But anyway, it's a little bittersweet because I've loved doing this work. It's been meaningful the whole year I've been doing it. But I've learned a lot. Hopefully I've made a contribution or two. The one thing that I would like to see somebody pick up the mantle on going forward as I leave is the community gardens. This has been, I guess, something that latched on to me, or I latched onto it. I'm not sure how or why, but recognizing that we have such a huge backlog of people that want to use community gardens, you can pretty much tell, kind of like they were talking about the pickleball courts. There's a big need for this, and there's so much potential development coming down the park, whether it's FDC or some other locations within the city. It just seems to me that we should be able to find a way to accommodate that request because that number of people on the wait list isn't getting any shorter, amazingly. So if somebody would want to pick up that ball and run with it as I leave, I would be really happy about that because I'll be watching.
You can.
Watching.
That's wonderful.
And that's it. Again, thanks for the opportunity to serve, and I'll see you guys around.
Thank you. And I'm going to move to Commissioner Ledger.
So sorry, is this the part where I could talk about the pickleball courts they were saying?
This is the time for commissioners to have comments, suggestions as we serve. So,
So I can't,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
We don't, it's the public's time to talk, so it's not a banter or
Yeah,
a
no,
comment.
I know that
This
much.
is more your representative of your community, so it's your time to talk about what the community and what you see.
So first, I
It
do,
happens to be pickleball.
so I do want to say I am going to miss Commissioner Wall, and if we do open a new community garden, I already suggest we should name it after him. But with the residents mentioning the safety issues with the pickleball courts with the wet grass and the sand, outside of the fencing, what if we put some of the like rubber that they use on the playgrounds to kind of absorb some of that when you walk in? Also love benches anywhere, so support more benches. And also just want to say, with everything going on, I am very grateful I live in California and I get to serve.
Thank you. And at this point, I'll go down to Commissioner Glab.
Thank you. Would that name be Garden Wall? I would.
Oh, you're
yeah,
very
Garden Wall. I
good
like
today.
No, I just want to apologize. John, I want to apologize. I was looking for a guy in a Skechers hat. So, yeah. And you said you'd be, okay. So I want to apologize for not introducing myself to you. So thanks for showing up and speaking.
I don't know if I can say anything, but I appreciate your response was very quick.
Yeah, thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
I just want to thank John and everybody that came out. It's really important to speak up. That's how staff are going to understand what the needs are. I'm not sure how many of you go out there and play, but it seems like they're out there every 3 times, 4 times a week. So that's a lot of use. So that's really cool. Thank you for coming out today. Just also wanted to mention that Ancient Forest Society, I can't say it enough. They need collaboration. So if anybody's interested in looking them up and just researching them, that would be pretty cool. We just injected the first sequoia in history last Friday, and so they're declining. They're really declining. So if there's any way we can collaborate, that'd be pretty cool to show some support. They are out in South Lake Tahoe. So if anybody wants to reach out, hey, they're good people, really, really good people. I also wanted to mention that the graffiti has gotten worse. And I would really appreciate if anybody can maybe put something together for the community to just show them a few things, that research has shown, or, in history of Costa Mesa, what has improved. And yeah, just, we need guidance. We definitely need guidance. And the community is very hurt. So it's hard for them to reach out. So yeah, thanks for listening. And it was a pleasure serving with you, Commissioner Wall. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move to Vice Chair Brown.
Good evening. I just want to start by thanking Commissioner Wall for your service on this commission. It's always been a pleasure when I run into you at events. You're just so warm and engaging and open. And I just really appreciate that when I walk into an event to know, and you're there, your smiling face. I just want to, that I will take away, and I appreciate that. It's something I don't take for granted, so thank you. I also want to thank you for raising the community gardens. I think that should be our drumbeat every month, which is that this is a service that so many people in Costa Mesa have said that they want and that they need. I mean, it's growing food to sustain yourself. With economic situations uncertain, I think the ability to do that provides sustenance on a variety of levels, and the physical level is just one of those levels. So I would definitely support that. I think we have a lot of work to do there. And I wanted to thank you, Commissioner, for bringing up the graffiti. So in District 5, I have seen a significant amount of graffiti in my neighborhood over the past couple of months, I would say. So thank you. And it's funny, I both see it and then didn't think about saying anything. So thank you for raising that. And perhaps maybe we're seeing it disproportionately in our districts over other districts. I also live in a district where we still don't have very many parks, right? And I don't have a park within easy walking distance. So just want to remind us as well that as we're talking about gardens, that there are some districts that are very rich in parks and other districts where we are not. And so I think that's something for us to keep in mind. I love Tanager. I really appreciate you all coming out to talk about what else Tanager needs. And I just want to say my daughter plays volleyball at Tanager, and she'll play with a friend whose dad plays pickleball. And it's this really great intergenerational moment where the kids are playing volleyball and the parents are playing pickleball. And I just appreciate that. So whatever we can do to kind of make that space even better, even as I just asked for more resources in my district, I really think that Tanager is a special park. And I'm excited to see that grow. And then the last is a request. I miss park ranger reports. I feel like park ranger reports, and it actually speaks to the graffiti issue. I think it's important for us commissioners to have a sense of what's going on. And will admit that without those reports, I'm absolutely clueless. I have no idea. I have no idea what's been reported. So just to plead that I think it's time to revisit that. I know we had some suggestions, and Commissioner Wright, who's not here today, I know feels similarly, I'll say, that we need that data. I think we had some requests for maybe different packaging of the data, and maybe some interaction with Costa Mesa PD. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I will echo everybody else. Commissioner Wall, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate your diligence, your dedication, and most important, we have a really strong PACs because each of us have a different priority that they want to make sure, but yet listen to everybody. And you will be sorely missed, not only in PACs, but in the city. But I know when you and your wife get to your new city, you'll be very engaged. It's what is Costa Mesa's loss is Huntington Beach's gain. So thank you for your time. It's interesting everybody's bringing up community gardens because one of the questions for me is I always like to think outside the box, whether it's a growing box. So we have some new development. So I'm going to be having coffee with a couple people that are very dedicated to that, to seeing how do we set up community gardens maybe in a different format, a different template that matches better than our existing one, because our existing ones are so stagnant in the sense that they're a certain size, the same people, and I don't blame them, don't give up their squares. Even when some squares are obviously are neglected, it's a very difficult process to move along. And I know our city has done a great job. They were doing raised beds, which is important because a lot of the flat ones are not accessible for people with disabilities and different abilities. So I think we need to get a little creative to figure out, are there parts of the parks that we have existing that could be sectioned off and have those be community gardens that are different? So that's just something that I think it's time. And so Terry, it sounds like you have a lot of us who are like right there as far as that goes. Also, thank you for the Tanager. I don't know if you know, my two things are pickleball and dogs off leash. Everyone laughed. Oh, and having playgrounds have shape. And so I was so pleased when Tanager opened up, but as not a great pickleball player, I recognize your concern. So that's what I wanted to say. So thank you for taking the time. As users, active users, that's, I think, how we understand its strengths and weaknesses of what the plans have been, but also as staff, so they understand to what goes on. So, and then I also wanted to give credit to Costa Mesa. So I'm on the board of SOI now, and there is a tremendous amount that SOI does, but they need transportation to get the students from the schools to SOI. But also I know our teen community program in downtown is only open to 5, and I know a lot of our teens and 7 through 12th graders really need a safe place through 8 o'clock, which SOI is open. So I want to say thank you to the staff, because I know there's been outreaching to get them from the downtown center over to SOI, and now I know at Shalimar, their main resource is closing down. So I know that our director is talking with the main person to see how we can do this. And I know the city and the school district has been together about transportation, and not just transportation for the children, but also transportation for the families and guardians, because SOI really does help the families understand what is needed for the students to stay in school, its resources. So I just want to do a big shout out, because and I know the city now has electric vans and things to get people around, and I know that's part of the conversation. So thank you. SOI is a tremendous resource. It's been around over 25 years, helping a lot of children who live in neighborhoods where they need a safe space to play, study, have resources and things. So thank you. Also, I did lots and lots of walking in my neighborhood, and I have to say thank you. People were coming up because I wear my tag. They're using the parks tremendously. Again, another shout out at Harper to make sure that works. That's been a challenge to make sure the schools and the students have their time, but the community has their time. So just thank you, because I walk around, I go to the parks, I'm on my bike, or I'm a lot of times just walking, and I introduce myself, and they're very, very used, and they have a lot of opinions of how they can improve. So, and I know our director knows that. And the other thing is great spotlight. I got that in the mail. So that the staff I know keeps evolving, and great job. Our neighbors love that. So with that, that's mine. Anything else at this point? Then we'll move to consent calendar, where minutes and the department report is. So how the consent works is unless you want to pull off for further discussion, I'll take a motion through your, make a motion on your screen and then a second, and then we go for that. So unless anybody wants to pull it off, I can get someone to make a motion. Is it working?
I have Commissioner Ledger who made the motion, and then Commissioner Wall who seconded.
Great. Okay. Any questions, comments? All right. We have a motion, a second. Please mark your thing, yes or no.
Motion carries to, I'm sorry, I can't see. Oh, record board. Motion carries 6-0 to approve consent calendar items.
Thank you. And then we'll move to monthly report, which is the Parks and Community Service Director's update and staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair, commissioners, and members of the community. I'm going to try to see if I can work this thing a little bit better than last time. Last time I had some difficulties with it, so we'll go ahead and pull up the report or the presentation. There we go. All right. Okay, so this is my department monthly director report. It's actually 2 months since we didn't meet last month. So I do want to highlight some important items here. And okay, there it goes. All right, so the first thing is, as I heard earlier today, Shalimar Think Together organization over at Shalimar Street has been a very important asset to that community over there, and they are closing. It's anticipated to be closing on December 20th. We have been in contact with them and kind of negotiating different ideas and thoughts of how we can maintain that program over there. So we are getting, I think we're making some progress in coming up with some, tenants coming in that can manage that program and continue that program as it is. And there's also talk about possibly expanding it, offering additional services. So it's very exciting. It's not finalized yet, but we're moving, inching closer, to finalizing that. And speaking of SOI, so Save Our Youth, we've been working with them, offering them some free swim lessons to the SOI students, and we started that on October 14th, and we're looking to continue that through December 18th. And then we will resume next year, probably in the spring timeframe, just because in January and February it tends to be rather cold, and kids do not want to go out and swim when it's cold, as most people don't. So we are offering them like 1 hour swim lessons on Monday and Wednesdays, and we do provide transportation to pick them up and then drop them back off over there. So we will certainly continue that program and look at obviously working with them to expand other programs as well. We did issue a staff liaison that's directly tied to the SOI program, so that way they have direct contact to somebody here from the city over in the recreation department, and that's been going very, very smooth as well. So yeah, so some exciting stuff happening there. In regards to tennis and pickleball, so the tennis courts have been resurfaced. They are open and people are playing on them. The pickleball courts are not open yet. There is well, we want to wait until the grand opening, number one. Number two is there is a pole that we have to put some padding on in order to protect the players from running into the pole. So we looked at removing the pole. However, the cost is the cost is pretty prohibitive in us removing it. So we ordered some padding, and that's being delivered. And once that is installed, the pickleball courts will be ready for play as well. In regards to the reopening event, so we are coordinating with the mayor and finalizing that date. We will make an announcement soon, and that will also be posted on the website for additional information of that reopening event. So some good stuff happening there. In addition to that, actually going back to the tennis center, I apologize. I do want to mention we did purchase some furniture upgrades as well. New benches for the courts. The current benches we have out there, or chairs I should say, are plastic and they're pretty outdated and they're kind of brittly. So we do want to replace that and make sure that people are safe sitting down in between their matches or in between their sets. And also purchase some new patio furniture that goes under the pergola that's in the center of the patio area as you're walking into the tennis center. just to kind of spruce that area up as well. So lots of improvements happening there, which is very, very exciting for us. Another update is on the golf course netting. We did work with the vendor and finalize that purchase. It's going to be installed at the end of December or early January, depending on the vendor's availability of installing that. And that will help prevent some of the balls, golf balls flying over into the neighborhood, hitting cars, hitting homes, and so forth. We do recognize that there is some limitations to the current netting that we have in place, and we need to do some improvements there to make that safer. Some professional service agreements that we've been working on and getting ready to issue. One is the security contract that we have in place currently with Lion Security, which expired this year, right around October, end of October, early November. So we are bringing that to council at the next meeting on November 19th. And so we will have a continuous security service provided at our facilities. In addition to that, the Fairview Park Mesa Restoration Project will also be coming to council, and that's going to be in January, and that's to award the contract. It's about a $2 million contract to start the restoration projects at Fairview Park. Speaking of community gardens, so we did add 4 full-size plots in addition to 10 elevated veggie plots. So it's a start. It's not going to solve our problem with having a long waiting list, but I do like the idea that that we can obviously start looking at maybe some alternative options of where we can add additional garden plots, because I do think that there is a need for that. And you know, perhaps we can put a working group together and kind of, you know, do some surveying of where that would be feasible, and then we can work through the CIP planning process, get some funding for it hopefully, and then you know, start developing additional garden centers. So more to come on that. Some Fairview, upcoming, important upcoming actually, outreach events for Fairview Park Development Center. We're looking at the first quarter of 2025 to have some outreach occur at that time, and that will be presented at the Planning Commission study session. Once we have that date finalized, I will certainly make that announcement, and again, it's going to be available on the website once that date has been confirmed. I can say for sure the Jamboree Housing Project, which will impact the senior center operation during that construction part, will occur on December 3rd, and it's going to be in the morning. It's sometime between 9 and 11 a.m. We're still finalizing the exact time. Again, that will be also available online on the city's website. And that's, again, a community outreach event, trying to get feedback from the seniors who are utilizing our facility so we can address, you know, their concerns. Moving on to Fairview Park, the steering committee. So they had their regular meeting on October 9th. There was some additional recommendations that the committee wanted to see included in the master plan. And those 5 items were to incorporate a central interpretive area, incorporate viewing platforms, incorporate a nature play area, incorporate native pollinator area to attract butterflies and other pollinators, and refine the current name of the park. So those have been thoroughly vetted at that meeting, and they have been included in the master plan for Fairview Park, so which is great. And we'll be moving forward towards a study session at the council level sometime in mid-January. So we'll make that announcement as we confirm that date. In addition, some additional items that were taking place over there at Fairview Park is the partial bike jumping area. In this picture, you can kind of see that we put a temporary fence around the area where we've seen an increase in bikers utilizing that area to kind of launch themselves, gain speed, and then launch themselves, you know, off the hill over there. But that area is part of the restoration project, and so we went ahead and moved forward and put some temporary fencing up. Unfortunately, probably about 2 weeks after we put this fencing up, it was taken back down, so we put it back up again, but this time with more stakes, so it's going to be a little bit harder to simply remove. But that has been effective. We have seen a slowdown in activity over there in regards to bikers utilizing that area for jumping, and so that's great to see. Another great event that we had on October 19th was the Teens Give Back program, and that's where we had high school kids come out and help with the restoration and also the removal of some of the mustard grass that we have growing over there. So that was very well received. We had about 25 kids come out and participate from various high schools, not just here in Costa Mesa, but various high schools. So that was very, very exciting to see the youth out there, and they truly enjoyed it. Lots of great comments in regards to giving back to the community and restoring nature. So it was very, very positive, and we'll certainly continue that program. Just another reminder, health and wellness, that senior social services, it's a year-round program that we have over at our senior center for mental health services, ages 50 and older. The phone number 714-327-7550 in case those in the audience would like to reach out and get more information or book an appointment. It is free. It's a great service, so it's one of those things I definitely want to always highlight when I make these, when I talk about these various programs here. Some operational insights. So as I mentioned before, we are doing a pretty extensive internal departmental training. We kicked things off on October 8th. We worked with an organization called Chief Leadership, and we did actually 2 days on October 8th and Monday, October 14th. We had a 4-hour study session talking about leadership and kind of self-evaluating, oneself, and it's been great. It's been very well received. Lots of positive things are coming out of this. We're continuing that training process. We actually had a meeting this morning where we introduced some key team player aspects that are kind of needed, or further developed, I should say, not needed, but further developed for our department. And again, very well received. They're excited for it. I'm excited for it. And that's going to transition out into the programming and what we do on a day-to-day basis in regards to operating facilities or events. So that's really something that's going to be coming through. And this will be an ongoing process. It's not something that's going to be a one and done. It's going to be an ongoing process throughout the year, and will continue for years on end. Just as we get new staff, we want to make sure that culturally they understand what we stand for, what we represent, how we operate. So it's just really, really exciting, to see all that coming into place now. I do want to give some special recognitions out. Our our art specialist, Lorette Garner, just did a great job coordinating the art venture and the art crawl. This is my first one, being a part of each one of those, and it's just been great. So I'm very, very proud of her. Tiana Johnson, who did a great job with the Scarecrow Fest. We had, over 2,000 people attend that, and it's just a lot of workload that goes into it, and she did a great job. And then also Tatiana Madrid for working, putting together the adaptive Wicked Halloween dance that was held just a couple of weeks ago, and she did a great job as well. Now, I'm going to toot our horn just a little bit here. So we did have an internal citywide Halloween contest, and, Parks and Community Services came in first place. Second year in a row, so next year we're going to go for the three-peat, but we'll see. So it was a lot of fun. Great camaraderie amongst the different departments, and just, getting together, having a good laugh, and, seeing what each department can put on. So kudos to Recreation Manager Monique, and she did a great job of putting it together and kind of coordinating. She was our choreographer, and, it was just a lot of fun doing that. So thank you. I also want to just quickly mention that I've been attending some of the quarterly Orange County Directors meetings, and that's basically where we get together with other cities, other department heads from other cities here in Orange County, and we collaborate, we brainstorm, we discuss, pressing issues that, maybe some of us don't have the resources, don't have the knowledge. So it's just a really good networking tool for us to branch out beyond what we have here, to collaborate and get ideas and thoughts and hopefully solutions. I do want to mention quickly, Snoopy House is coming up. Very excited for that. It's going to be fun for the whole family. It's going to be December 13th through the 20th from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. right here at City Hall. We'll have some train rides, entertainment, and food vendors, so it's going to be fun for the whole family. Come on down, participate, enjoy it, and create some memories. So very excited for that, especially since it's going to be my first one. I will hand it over, even though my presentation is done, I will hand it over to our maintenance manager, Mr. Ryan, to provide a CIP update for the commission, just so you're familiar where we are with certain projects.
Thank you. So Rob?
Thank you, Director Gruner. Just want to take an opportunity to tag on to his report and provide a few updates on our capital improvement project. Excuse me, I got a little bit of allergies. The first Santa Ana winds always hit me hard, so bear with me. First up is CIP projects we've completed this last year. Obviously, the LED lighting improvements at the tennis center. There's a before picture on the left and after picture on the right. This project converted the existing lighting to LED lights. This project, we had to install new poles as the existing lighting was more of a park type lighting, so it didn't already have the Musco sports lighting in there. So that project was completed. And again, you'll see a special shout out to Senator Dave Min for the funding on that, or the grant funding from his office. You can see the stark contrast there. It looks fantastic, came out really nice. The user groups are really excited about it. They can see the ball much better. And so here's the Jack Hammett Sports Complex that was completed. Again, the before picture on the left, the after picture on the right. Again, great feedback from the user groups there, how much better they can see the ball. I think you can see the contrast where the lighting ends, just how bright it is up until the end of the fields. And then once you get into the neighborhood homes, that park has homes on the north side and the east side there, and it's dark. So it's just fantastic. It helps with the wildlife and the neighbors. And then we have our T. Winkle Athletic Complex. Again, the photo on the left is the before, the photo on the right is the after. You know, just a stark contrast to the lighting, which was great. That was also completed this last year. You know, overall, again, all these projects, Bark Park was also one I didn't really get some great before and after photos of, but we did install lighting at Bark Park. We added 2 additional lights in the back of that park that didn't have lighting previously, or they shared lighting kind of with the tennis center. So it wasn't very well lit, but now that is lit up very nicely. The safety is improved out there, the aesthetics have improved, so at all these locations. The lighting design was site-specific, given the type of sport played. Minimize light pollution by focusing light directly on the playing surface. Increased efficiency, minimizes downtime for repairs and light bulb replacements, and overall reduce maintenance and energy costs by as much as 85%. These lights come with, I believe it's a 20 or 25-year warranty, plus some great assistance, technical support from Musco Lighting, where if there is an issue, an alarm goes off at their location, they're able to contact city staff. They have a great support line, and when we get to the fields, they will troubleshoot what's going on anywhere in that in those complexes, and walk staff through to make sure we get those lights up and running and minimize the downtime to the user groups, which is fantastic. This is kind of one of my favorite photos on the right, because you can see both Jack Hammett here in the foreground and a Team Winkle Athletic Complex in the background, which I thought was really, really neat photo.
And also, I don't mean to interrupt you, also how dark it is.
100%, 100%.
I'm shocked, surprisingly shocked. That's fabulous.
Yeah, it was really important, given that, you know, a lot of the wildlife at night relies on the darkness to find their food, forage for food. So that was a really important element that Musco guaranteed. That lighting focused on the fields, and they also focus on the lighting is designed for the type of play. A lot of it's aerial play. The ball's up in the air. The lighting is focused both down and upwards to highlight the ball, so it's easier to see. They call it their proprietary ball tracker technology. So a lot of technology went into designing this, and they did a great job. I think the results are there, and the user groups are really happy with it. So we're really proud of that project. And again, that was thanks to a grant from State Senator Dave Min. Next, Costa Mesa Tennis Center, Phase 1, the court resurfacing. So courts 1 through 10 were resurfaced, the expansion joints were leveled, cracks in joints were repaired, Sportmaster surfacing was applied, and the color scheme was updated. I think you saw in the previous picture from the LED lighting, it was kind of that maroon and green. This is a much more updated color scheme. I think it looks fantastic. It came out great. The user groups are really happy with the ball speed from the surfacing. It's a set mixture of sand in with that paint that helps with the ball speed, and that's improved. A lot of that was worn over the years. And here's another part of Phase 1 was obviously the pickleball courts, which are already mentioned. The same treatment for the painting and the Sportmaster surfacing. Again, the color scheme was updated. Nets, posts, additional fencing were installed. So we're really excited about that project and excited to get that open. As Director Gruner mentioned, there's just that one, excuse me, that one remaining post that was from an old light that really couldn't be, wasn't feasible to remove it. Just want to make sure it's safe for play out there, and I think once we get that wrapped up, it'll be perfect. So excited about that. Next one was completed was the Luke Davis Field improvements. This was a part of our CIPs for this year. That field was previously maintained by a user group. So the project decompacted the infield dirt. We had 25 tons of infield mix. It had not been renovated in quite some time. So there's a lot of low spots out there. The entire field was laser leveled. We rebuilt the pitcher's mound, installed new batter's boxes and catcher's boxes. The field was dragged and watered. Replaced the infield turf, and we also replaced the outfield arc. I think you see the difference in the color from the transition from the infield to the outfield. That reduced that. There's a lip that typically builds up. So if you're playing deep, in the infield, and you're trying to catch a ground ball, that hits the infield lip and pops up, and you get a black eye or a bloody nose from that. So that turf was replaced, and the whole area was leveled. So the work's going to improve the quality and the playability of that infield. And again, we got some really positive feedback from the user groups. They're excited to use that field. Obviously, the T. Winkle Athletic Complex is a really premier complex in the area, but the kids and the coaches are really excited to play here. So we're proud of that one as well. A few updates on projects that are in the works. First, Brentwood Park. Obviously, we've talked about this one. The project aims to revitalize the park. Some upgrades include changing out the playground equipment, updating playground equipment, adding some desired elements to it, maybe some landscaping. We're looking at some ADA access, some walkways, and changing the existing lighting to LED lighting, as well as upgrading the existing picnic shelter there. So we're working on the design right now. And I'll talk a little bit more about in the next couple of slides with the other parks. The design phase, we're obviously coming into the holidays. The design phase is a big team effort, so it involves the landscape team, irrigation team, obviously a huge contribution from our partners in Parks and Community Services. So with the holidays coming around, it might be a little bit of a slower process. The goal is to get the design completed by early 2025 and have a presentation of the commission early 2025 and really get this project into construction by summer of 2025. I think that's all very doable, providing that the design isn't a lot of custom-made pieces that may delay, could potentially delay if it's more of a stock. By stock, they have a lot of really good pieces, but if we do a lot of customization, it might delay that a little bit. But I think construction to begin by summer of 2025 is very, very doable. So I'm excited about that one. I know that's been highly anticipated by a lot of residents in the area. So we'll be moving forward with that one. Next is Ketchum-Liebelt Park. We present the final concepts. So this is in the final stages of design phase. We're anticipating getting the 100% plans for this project with construction hopefully to start beginning in early 2025. Excuse me. Lions Park Cafe, that's under construction. Construction began in July of 2024. It's going to take a little over a year to complete. I know that a lot of the surface work has been completed, so that's underway, and that was thanks to a grant from Supervisor Katrina Foley's office. Again, Shalimar Park, and I don't think I mentioned Connie Petrie Norris's contribution of a grant for the Ketchum-Leibold Park. So I apologize for that, but circling back to that, we really appreciate the support that we've had for all these projects. It's been an amazing opportunity we've been given. So I apologize for being remiss in mentioning that. But Shalimar Park here, again, another opportunity from Senator Dave Min in the same phase as Ketchum-Leibold. We're in the final design phases. We're expecting 100% plans. That's the last step before we put together the construction documents to advertise the project for construction. So we're really getting down to the wire. And the reason I was bringing up the 100% in the staff time is that's kind of where you get to the nitty gritty, where we're all involved in looking at all the particulars of landscape, down to the types of plant material, the irrigation components, down to what type of heads they're using, you know, every little detail. So it does take up quite a bit of staff time. And once these two projects in particular get to construction phase, it'll free up a lot of staff time to focus on some of the other projects. So we're excited to kind of get that into the bidding and the contracting and construction phase. Skate park expansion, another grant opportunity from Orange County Supervisor Katrina Foley, expanding of the existing skate park. We're in the design phase. We're working on some different requests. We've had some great feedback in some of the outreach meetings, great attendance from the outreach, which is fantastic. It's a matter of kind of putting all those great ideas and trying to come up with something that tries to check as many boxes as we possibly can. So I'd be on the lookout for additional outreach meetings to follow. We're not quite as far along as we are with the parks, just because trying to squeeze as much as we can in and making sure we're covering all the needs there. Team athletic complex improvements. One of these is the batting cages. Excuse me. This is a highly requested amenity. Currently in the design phase, so we've pretty much designed it out. We have some good quotes on it, so we're ready to move forward with some contracting and actually start building this. But have to go to council, which will probably be the early next year. But it looks at putting two batting cage or pitching cages on either side of the walkway between fields 1 and field 4, the baseball field. It's a representative picture there on the right, and kind of what it looked like. It's going to include electrical outlets for pitching machines, those types of things, as well as LED lighting, so it can be used at night. This is something that the user groups have really been wanting to put there to kind of upgrade and enhance that great facility. So looking forward to moving forward on that. The drainage improvements there, I think most of you are aware we have some drainage issues there when we get some heavy rains. You know, it's a very compacted soils we deal with. And the fields are heavily used, so it's rough shutting down a field even for a couple of days. So we've engaged with a civil engineer. He's currently working on plans for some permanent solutions to address some of those issues there. So we're looking forward to seeing those plans and moving forward. Tewinkle Lake repairs, again, another grant funding from Senator Dave Min's office. This will install a new lake liner, redesign the shorelines to kind of smooth them out a little bit, upgrade the pump and circulation system, enhance the landscaping. So the project has been advertised for construction, re-advertised. So bids are due back end of this month. Hopefully we'll get some very competitive bids and we can move forward with it, contracting and looking to construction summer of 2025. Wimbledon Park exercise equipment, I think we just presented this. Installation's underway and we anticipate completion by November 22nd. So early next week, early to mid next week, but maybe a few days just in case. So, but it's coming along nicely. I think there's a little bit of delays because the foundations that were in that equipment are obviously pretty robust, and so the demolition took a little bit longer than we anticipated. But that one should be done by end of next week for sure. Just a couple CIP projects updates. The bluff stabilization and restoration, RFP for design of the restoration is being finalized. So that should be put out for bid pretty soon. Excuse me. And then the wetlands improvements, staff is working on sourcing an on-call consultant to provide a scope of work for that project. So those are moving along as well. So that concludes my presentation or my updates. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to home panel. So at this time, is the report from the director, Gruner, that concludes your report presentation?
Yes, it does.
So what I'll do is I'll go ask commissioners if they have any questions or comments. So I'll start now to the right. Commissioner Glab, do you have any questions or comments on?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll move to Commissioner Garcia Arcos.
I just kind of had a question, like for the professional serving agreement and the Fairview Park Steering Committee. There was a picture of Fairview Park, and I brought this to someone's attention and never heard back. But I noticed that a lot of the trees in that area are being driven on by city staff, and it's really nice that we're preserving outside of the grasslands. But if we can preserve those trees, that would be that much more helpful, because in the long run, it's just going to cost us that much more. It's very concerning. We do have some paths that we can kind of take, and then walking distance, whether it's the restroom or something else. I don't know the logistics on that, but just wanted to put that information out there. I'm not sure if you would like to speak on that. Like, what does compaction do from vehicles on the root system? If you wanted to add to that.
Obviously, that's something we want to avoid. If you can, we don't have to do it open, but when you do see that, if you can get me some additional information that would help me identify, so that we can educate those individuals about the dangers of driving around trees and compacting the root zones and those things. We definitely want to avoid that. But if you see it, I think you have my contact information. We'd love to educate those individuals if we can kind of identify.
I really appreciate that answer. I did also have another suggestion, and I would love to help however I can. For the brainstorming network and collaboration that you attended, that's amazing. And so I encourage that the city arborist is also involved with that. Is there like some grants we can maybe put together or work on some budgeting for that? I've been to a few events where I see other city arborists from Newport Beach, Anaheim, like all city of Orange County. I mean, every other city that I've seen that comes to the events really gets a lot of information from the research that is current. And so going back with tree selection, it's very important. And I've noticed that we may have made mistakes many, many years ago, and we're inheriting that, right? So those mistakes can be prevented if we start educating ourselves and collaborating with other arborists that are currently trying to be on top of, the research and what tree selections might want to be taken away from the plant selection. Specifically in Canyon Park, I think the oak trees are declining pretty bad. They're like right in the center of the grass, which was not the best idea. I think 1 out of like 20, and don't take my numbers for that, 1 out of 20 is surviving. And the rest are just, no, one of them is thriving, the rest are just surviving and declining. Just wanted to put that out there and let me know if I can help in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go down to my other side. Commissioner Wall. No? Okay, Commissioner Ledger?
Yes, so the construction for Brentwood Park, when that starts, are the kids still going to be able to play there since it's starting in summer? Or is the park going to be shut down in summer?
The park would be shut down. If it starts in summer, it would be shut down in summer. We can always flex that schedule. You know, we rely on our Parks and Community Services team to kind of advise us of that. Ideally, we would start earlier in that and get it done before summer. That's generally our goal. I think that summertime is kind of the latest time frame, so it's definitely not a hard set date.
How long does the construction take?
That would depend on the type of playground selected, the other upgrades. I want to say that, if I'm remembering right, Canninger Park, one of the more recent ones we did, that's quite a bit of equipment, including the exercise equipment, was 3 to 4 weeks, roughly, maybe a little bit less, if memory serves me right. And again, that depends on what the design that's actually selected.
So is it possible, though, to schedule that around the summer break for the kids so they do have something to do while school's closed?
If that's the desire, there's definitely that possibility. We definitely work with Parks and Community Services to help us decide when we should start executing those projects, so for sure.
Thank you.
If I can just make a comment to that. So I have been in contact with some of the residents that live over there in Brentwood Park, in particular the ones that put together a nice folder and really did some detailed work in gathering that information. So we will certainly, collaborate and work with them and see what the best time frame is.
Okay, and then I'll turn to Vice Chair Brown.
Thank you for that report. I just want to acknowledge how far we've come because I remember what it was like a couple years ago and just not being sure about where we were at with even just a list of the projects going on. And I just want to acknowledge that this is really remarkable to be able to have you walk us through it, to acknowledge where the funding comes from, to acknowledge where we're at in the process, to be able to see photographs, to be able to do that comparison. For those of you who weren't on the commission, I just will say we are just in a very different place. And I feel so much more educated just in terms of where we're at. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Just a random question. How long do you think the lake's repair will take? Because it's such a big project, so I'm just trying to wrap my head around that one in particular. And it's not for any reason other than just curiosity.
So that's a really complicated project. More than likely, that'll be what we're pushing for, is that to be done in 2 phases. And by phases, I don't mean we spread that over years, but in starting with one lake, so that we can transfer some of that existing wildlife to the other lake, right? And then complete the initial phase, move that wildlife back to the completed lake, and then start on the next one. That's going to extend the project. As to a timeline, I really couldn't, I'd hate to hazard a guess at this point without talking to the contractors that we're going to be engaging and working with them, but I'm sure we'll be able to provide a feedback once we get that feedback from the contractor. I'll keep that in mind.
Anything else? Okay. A couple things. First of all, I want to thank the city again, jumping in with Think Together, soy, and the swimming. We know those marginalized communities, especially those of new immigrants or those who don't have access to pools. It's not only a matter of life and death, but it's accessibility to be able to then participate in, we're so close to the beach, into the swimming and water polo and those kinds of things. So it's so critical. So thank you for jumping in and making sure these students who have no access are water safe and can swim. So thank you. What's interesting when you showed the bike jumping, I think underneath all that bike jumping is a whole bunch of construction trash. So I wasn't sure if the restoration was going to deal with that, because I can't even imagine from the 50s and 60s that doesn't include some very dangerous material. I mean, it's something you have to answer today, but it was interesting when I saw it round it up, it was the place where all these contractors and all these builders that were in Mesa Verde and College Park and all these other areas, and they literally it was easier to dump it there than to go to the dump, so to speak. So that was just reminding me of that. And then just to clarify, by security, is it security for all our facilities? Is it also how we're doing security? Because I know we have an agreement we're working out and we're working on with Newport Mesa for the green space at the schools, that I know we had ambassadors, so that's separate. I just want to clarify that's separate than the ambassadors. Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, yeah, Ms. Monique.
Yeah, I can give an update. The security services is something that we already have in place. We already have security services at our Lions Park campus that does that whole DRC, NHCC, and Lions Park. And then we have security also at our senior center for the operating hours. And then we also hired security to monitor weekend activities for our open space at 3 elementary schools, which is Ray, Whittier, and Elementary. Now, other schools open for open play outside of those schools are Adams and Victoria, but we don't have security at those. We started with the Ray, the Whittier, and Wilson were ones that were requested by the school district for us to open, and so that's why we do provide security there. Victoria and Adams didn't seem to have as many issues with unmonitored open space, and that's why we just have the ambassadors there.
Thank you. That helps. The other thing is, as you were saying, with our state senator, Dave Min appears to be moving on to Congress. It would be really nice, and I'm just going to make a suggestion, if we could take those beautiful pictures of like the lighting, everything that he was involved with, and sort of create a nicely framed thank you so that he can see the work he did. It would be really nice that we could send him out or bring him in as our representative in Congress. So that one picture is stunning. I agree. Have been on the baseball and working with lighting and Musco lighting. That was many, many moons ago. And just seeing the advancement is huge, to be able to have opportunities for lighted evening activities that does not impact wildlife, doesn't impact the community. It's a game changer. So thank you for sharing that. And then I just wanted to confirm, Brentwood Park, as you know, as we were talking about, we're getting so close. There's a lot of I know there's irrigation, there's engineering, but I know that they've already been very involved, but are we going to we're going to do some formal input when you come up with some initial designs like we've done with other parks? Is that correct? I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will do that.
Okay. Yeah. Because they're a community that's very involved, and as you know, so I just want to make sure that happens. And that's pretty much what I have for our comments for that on the report. We do have something under new business. We do have a request for a donation. Was there anything else?
Yeah, I just want to add, you brought up actually a couple good points in regards to the swimming. So we have been working with the school district as well and the YMCA to collaborate a more comprehensive swimming lesson program in the summer for those who obviously don't have a pool, don't have the resources to go to a pool. So we are working on that, and we're looking to launch something in May. May is typically Water Safety Month. So we are working towards that. So there's going to be more to come. We're just kind of finalizing some of the dates and some of the programming that we can do in conjunction with the school district and the YMCA and the city. So it is very, very exciting that we are moving in that direction. The other thing I wanted to say was the Fairview Park restoration project itself. There's actually a couple of phases. So phase one will be addressing the non-debris area, so to speak. So we're going to start there first and really focus on the bluffs. But that will be part of the project as well, where those bike jumps are currently. You're right, there are a lot of dumping debris underneath there. We're not exactly sure what's underneath there, but we have to do some surveying and kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with before we can move forward with that.
Great. Yeah. It sort of, as some of the commissioners have brought up, we haven't been perfect stewards of identifying good trees or resources in one of the areas that was not in the city back then, but we haven't been good stewards of our community and our natural resources, and that's just one that is just, yeah, it is awful. So anything else Before I move to new business.
No, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director. So we do have a request for a donation of a tree and a plaque at Canyon Park.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The next item before is a donation, request for a donation of a memorial tree and plaque to be installed at Canyon Park. A little background, city received a request from Eleanor Egan requesting permission from this commission to donate a tree and memorial plaque in honor of Moses Wilbur Johnson. Mr. Johnson was a longtime colleague and friend of Ms. Egan. Ms. Egan, just a little background about the requester. Ms. Egan has been a resident of Costa Mesa since 1986. She served 8 years as assistant city attorney and served 2 years as a planning commissioner. A little background about Mr. Johnson. He was born in December 12th, 1957 in Downey, attended Western High School, ran track, was team captain his senior year track team. He married his wife Jenny in 1980, attended law school and graduated from the University of San Diego in 1983. Mr. Johnson began his law career in Guam, where after 2 years as a law clerk in the Superior Court of Guam, he was admitted to the Guam Bar. He and his wife, Jenny, moved back to Southern California, and he was admitted to the California Bar in 1985. In 1994, as an assistant city attorney for the city of Anaheim, Ms. Egan had the role in hiring Mr. Johnson as the deputy city attorney for that city. According to Ms. Egan, it was one of the best decisions she ever made in her professional life. Mr. Johnson was an excellent lawyer, an engaging personality. According to Ms. Egan, all his colleagues respected and enjoyed working with him. Years after Ms. Egan retired, Mr. Johnson was promoted to assistant city attorney in 2007 and excelled in that position until retiring in 2023 after 29 years of dedicated public service. Mr. Johnson passed away in June of this year and is survived by his wife Jenny, his son Perry, and daughter Isabel, daughters-in-law Liz Johnson, Elena Jermio, and grandson Theo Roth Johnson, and numerous other loving family members. Ms. Egan selected Canyon Park as the location for the tree and plaque. Staff identified specifically a meadow area kind of in the middle of the park where there's, we call it the meadow area. There's existing oak trees down there. Staff felt that that was a suitable location. The tree would be a coast live oak. You can see kind of a sample photo on the left there. It would have a plaque similar to the one in the photo there on the right. It fits in nicely the existing plant palette. There are existing oaks and sycamores in that area. There happens to be another memorial tree pictured on the right here. It's a coast live oak. The donor of that one chose not to have a plaque associated with the tree, but the photo at the right is one of our staff members, existing staff members, was there for that planting and took that photo recently. So staff has reviewed the suggested location, determined that it was suitable for the tree and plaque. The installation would have minimal fiscal impact on the city as the donor will incur the cost of all the donated items, the tree and the plaque. The city will assist with the installation of both. The submitted request does meet the requirements as set forth by the City Council policy. Staff is requesting the Parks and Community Services provide direction regarding the donation of the tree and plaque in memory of Mr. Moses Wilbur Johnson. I do know that Ms. Egan had planned on attending last month's meeting. I know she had planned on attending this month, and she's not here this evening, but I don't know if she's on via Zoom. But the delay she may have missed it, but
Okay.
she planned on attending last month.
Okay. At this time, what I'll do is take a motion a second, then we can have a discussion. So if I can have a motion to approve the donation and a second. And then at this time, I'll have comments and questions. Do you have? Yeah, I figured.
You may vote on your dais.
Well, we're not voting until we go through the questions. That's okay.
There's
We can keep
motions,
it
so I'm going
there.
to clear them then.
Okay, yeah, we have a motion and a second, and so now we have our discussion and questions. So yes. Commissioner.
Yeah, as I was reading through it, I was noticing some oak trees around the area too. They're doing pretty well. Before you pass the bridge on the left corner, you'll see one that was improperly selected. I don't know when that was. It was a codom, so it basically split in half, and now the half of the tree is standing. It would be nice to select a good tree. It's great. It's not going to get overwatered. There's some sycamores, like you had mentioned before, some eucalyptus on the corner as well, so that's really cool. Yeah, so that's a great selection. Really appreciate you guys putting this together.
Any other commissioners have any comments? All right, so we do have a motion and a second. We did have Commissioner Wall and
I think
Commissioner,
it got cleared out.
yeah.
Okay, there we go.
And Ledger. All right. Right. Second. You have it right on there. Hey. Okay, so we motion a second, and then I'll let you cue it up. Okay, if you can take your vote.
Motion carries 6-0 to approve the donation tree plaque at Canyon Park.
Excellent. All right. At this time, I'll take any additional commissioner member or staff comments. Do we have any from the director? You're good?
I do have a couple comments, but I was going to wait until the commission can go.
Commissioner first. Okay, and then I'll end with you. So I'll start to my left, Commissioner Ledger? Nope. Commissioner Wall? All right. Commissioner Garcia Arcos?
Just to touch the base of going back to that location, how do you guys feel about coyotes? Is that something we're trying to avoid and get rid of? The question is because if you continue going where the tree wants to be, you guys are suggesting to plant. If you keep going further in by Victoria Street, no, it's not Victoria Street. Going up the hill. I'm not sure what street that is. If you can clarify that.
Might be Sea Bluff, which is off of Victoria. Is that the area you're talking about?
No, it's a little bit closer by the bridge, up by the eucalyptus. I should probably look it up, but anyways,
It might be the
residentials.
Yeah, the presidential streets up there.
Yeah, that's the one. So I noticed in the past 2 years, we saw a lot of sightings. There was a lot of pups, like 4 or 5 new little puppies. I don't know if they're called puppies, but yeah, it's been like completely removed, and I know they were nesting there. They were staying in that location. After that, I haven't really seen them in the area, and I've seen them in the streets of Shalimar. There's a little spot that we call the jungle because there's a lot of plants, and they stay there, and they're not looking very healthy. They look very, very sad. Just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Glab, any final
I was
comments?
just wondering if those coyotes are off leash.
They are off leash,
okay.
for sure.
I have a lot of them over by my house, so yeah. Well, one of them was following me and my dog the other day, so probably a little hungry. But no, no, I don't have any comments. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Vice Chair Brown? Nope. Yeah, coyotes, we have a lot. I'm over by the Back Bay, a tremendous number. And I know from just basic information when I go to the Muth Interpreter Center, there's, when it becomes overpopulated or the bunnies are not enough and some of the other ones, some of the coyotes really don't do well. Yeah, and it's sort of nature. And the main thing is as long as there's no rat poisoning and things that are getting them. And that's something that there's been a big education in our community to not use rat poison for not just them, but the raccoons and the possums. And the birds, yeah, yeah. So anyway, I have nothing else. So Director?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. In regards to coyotes, I know I've been talking to the golf course operator, which kind of backs up right in that area. And I mean, he did indicate, because I was actually playing golf, and I happened to see a coyote kind of galloping along the fairway. So I asked him, is that a problem? And he said, no, I mean, there are quite a few out there. that they see consistently on a regular basis, so quite a few, and obviously they probably cut into the golf course and cut back over to Fairview Park, as it's kind of tied in right there, so, but I can certainly look into that a little bit more in regards to, any issues with the coyotes. I just want to mention quickly, this is our last meeting, of the year. It's been an absolute pleasure, over the last 8 months since I've been here, and I really enjoy working with the commission and look forward to, 2025. And I certainly want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays and a happy New Year, and looking forward to next year. So, and my final word, Mr. Wall, Commissioner Wall, it's been a pleasure. I always enjoyed seeing you at the different events and having just great conversations and discussions, and you'll certainly be missed, and wish you all the best. And I'm sure we'll see you around here in Costa Mesa. Yeah, all right, thank you.
And thank you for reminding me. So I'm not sure, my term is up, and I know Commissioner Glab, your term is up. I wasn't sure if you were going to apply again or to be part of the commission.
I don't know. I was going to talk to Ms. Atul about it, because I tried reaching out to him a while back, but I didn't hear back from the council member, so I know he has to set out applications.
So I did connect with the city clerk's office in regards to reappointments for the upcoming term. I believe something's supposed to go out sometime in December for a selection in January. So at this time, until appointments are completed, you are still commissioner unless you formally resign within your role. So we probably won't select until after the January meeting, so you will still assume your roles as commissioners, since the meeting for council to review won't be until towards the end of the month.
So, yeah, so, and I know Commissioner Wright, because it's the mayor's appointment is up, I'm up, I think Commissioner Glab. There'll be an opening with Commissioner Wall.
Anyone who's expired will have to still
whose
submit.
term is expired, not they're expired.
Correct.
No, I appreciate that.
You reapply?
Yes, so even if, say, your council member was reselected, you will still have to reapply, and it's tentatively scheduled for January, so I do want to make that clear as well.
So, do you not reapply, or do you have to resign if you don't?
If you plan to not continue, you will have to formally resign. That's an email.
Okay.
However, so until we reselect, so there's an.
Reselect, then you don't have to resign?
Correct, because then you're expired, yes. Mhm.
Your term's expired. I'm with an organization as membership, and they started saying, well, these people have expired. And I'm like, no, I just had lunch with her. She's not expired. So, yeah, so if I understand it right, those of us, even if our terms are due to expire, we continue to serve until appointments are made, unless we want to stop serving before the end of our term.
Correct. And then I do also want to clarify for anyone who is interested, you do not have to be in the district that is currently available for a reappointment. So that was something that was changed in the last term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Anybody in Costa Mesa can apply for District 1?
correct, as long as you're a resident of Costa Mesa, you would have to just complete the application. Mm-hmm.
But the city council person will still
Here, put your
decide.
mic up.
The city council person will still make that
Correct.
designation based on. Okay.
Correct. So they may. Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify all that, as we're not going to have a December meeting. Hopefully I'll see everybody at the Snoopy House, and we'll see everybody who's still here, other than Commissioner Wall, will be busy moving into his new beautiful house in Huntington Beach. And with that, am I good to adjourn? Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment? You don't have to, do I have a second? Do you have a second? You don't, all right, once you have a motion, a second, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, have a good holiday. No, it's one thing that, yeah, Harvard.